to take a review, a little review. We started off yesterday talking about plate boundaries, and we talked about convergent boundaries. Those are the ones where the the plates want to come together, converge. That's a fancy word for come together, or collide, convergent. And then you got divergent boundaries, and those they move away from each other. And then you have transform boundaries. Well, transform boundaries is when they slip, when the two plates slip past each other. Okay, so let's move on a little bit here. We'll look at them again here just as a review. The convergent plates collide. You remember that? And that's when you have two plates pushing against each other. And then, do you remember we said there were oceanic, continental type convergent boundaries? There's continental type convergent boundaries. And we said there's oceanic type convergent boundaries. These two, this type right here, continental produces mountains. These two right here, oceanic continental, usually will produce volcanoes. Sometimes they produce earthquakes. Okay, these will produce mountains. Okay, that's conversion, right? Convergent. Okay, and then in this one here, in these oceanic you saw here, where the oceanic crust is going to go down underneath the continental crust, and also it can happen also with when you have two oceanic crust, oceanic crust, you'll have what's called a subduction, and the subduct means that it goes underneath. You get this sometimes when you have convergent plates. And you remember we talked about how you had convergent boundaries, continent boundaries. That's how we got the Himalaya mountains. We talked about that yesterday. There's a little history of that. And this is how the Himalayas were formed. The Himalayas are the youngest mountain range. And again, continent. What happens when they bump into each other? They move up like this. They buckle. Okay, and buckle, you get mountains that form, right? Okay. Now it's not instantaneous. It happens over thousands and millions of years. The Himalayas again they're the youngest. They're the tallest in the world. They're still growing. Okay. And then you have divergent, and that's where the plates move away from each other. They're moving apart from each other. They divide, divergent. And we talked about the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, you get what's called seafloor spreading. And that's when oceanic crust forms along this mid-ocean ridge. And other oceanic crust moves away from the ridge. Okay? And then it pushes the older crust away. And okay, then this is where we stopped yesterday. We talked about we're going to talk a little bit more about transform boundaries, and these occur where two plates slide alongside each other. Transform, travel, right? You can kind of remember it that way. They travel past each other. Transform, travel past each other. And then we answered this question yesterday. And then this is where we stopped. Well, no, actually we did talk about the San Andreas Fault, and I'm not going to show you the video. I think I put for you at home, or you who's viewing this video, I put a link to this video for you to watch. And this is where we stopped yesterday. Okay. So the results of plate interaction, so each of these boundary interactions results in dramatic changes to the Earth's crust. Doesn't matter if it's continental, that's where you get mountains. Oceanic, you get volcanoes or earthquakes. Oceanic, continental, you get volcanoes or earthquakes. That's change, right? That's going to cause some kind of permanent change. Well, don't necessarily say permanent, but long-term change, put it that way. Okay? So let's look right here. So the diagram below, is this an example of convergent or divergent? They're moving away from each other. Is that convergent or divergent? Mark your answer. Convergent or divergent? They're moving away from each other. They're dividing. Is that convergent or divergent? Okay, everybody got an answer? Okay, let's look right here. Okay, so which of these describes what is happening in the diagram? Is it that both plates are sliding past each other? That's A. Or is it that plates move away from each other? That's D. Okay, what is the picture describing? Are they sliding past each other, or are they moving away from each other? What is the picture describing? A or D? Mark your answer. Everybody got an answer? Is this easy or what?
Pretty much easy.
Good. Okay, here we go. There may be another question here. Okay, so you're gonna match the boundaries. Okay, actually, we're gonna do this, we'll do this together here. Come up here, Bryce. Show me a convergent boundary. Bryce, take convergent and put it where they go. Where does convergent go? Where does convergent go? Convergent's the second one. Where does it go? Converge are coming together. They're moving together. Which one shows the picture of them moving together? Good, convergent, good. Come up here, Jaleel. Which one they're sliding, they're transformed, they're sliding past each other. Which one is that?
Sliding past to this one?
I don't know, you tell me. Okay, good. Come up here, Terry. What's left? You got the easiest job of all, Terry. Woohoo, Terry. All right, you got it. Divergent. Okay, so if they're moving away from each other, they're slipping past each other, or they're moving toward each other, right? Everybody got that? Good job. Okay. So we're gonna stop right there. For you at home, I'm gonna show these guys the portion of the video that I skipped over earlier, and then I will put a link to this in Google Classroom, okay? All right.